Welcome to the Next Level Life podcast with Christine Corcoran. This podcast is made for the powerhouse businesswomen who are ready to ignite their fullest potential. This is where we will dive deep into the mindset breakthroughs and sprinkle in some kick up the butt motivation so you can scale your business with confidence and clarity. Whether you're craving more income, impact, or inspiration, this podcast will be your ultimate resource for all things next level. Listen in as we have authentic conversations with game-changing female entrepreneurs as we reveal the secrets on what it takes to rise and thrive. So go ahead, ignite your inner fire, and let's get you taking massive aligned action. Are you ready to elevate? Let's go. Hey, welcome back to the podcast. So excited that you're here. I want to talk to you a little bit about upgrading your sales funnels because these are some of the tweaks that I feel like you need to be making in 2026 if you really want to make more sales. One of the things that I'm really noticing is people feeling really disheartened that things that were previously working are no longer working. And when I ever have this conversation come up, we want to recognize, like, am I stuck in victim language? Am I blaming everything else externally? Am I blaming the algorithm? Am I blaming whatever reason, whatever's happening in the world? Or am I learning to take this as feedback? Because that's the most important thing we always need to do when it comes to any form of sales funnel is look at everything, all the data as feedback, take it on board, and then learn to improve on it. So let's talk about sales funnels. What do I mean by a sales funnel? A sales funnel is designed to take either a customer who is cold, who doesn't know anything about you, right through to then buying and working with you, or even a warmer audience. So it doesn't always have to be a cold audience, and the type of funnel will then determine whether it's going to work for a cold versus a warm audience. And so I want to share with you a couple of things you need to consider this year, or the tweaks that I think you need to start making with regards to your sales funnels. So one, do you have a couple in place? We need to always be testing a bunch of different funnels in order to see what's really hitting the market and what's working for your type of business. So one of the tweaks you need to consider is, do I have old funnels running that maybe aren't actually performing very well, that maybe I should just get rid of altogether? Or do I have old funnels that are running that maybe aren't performing it the way that they used to, but with a few tweaks, we could make them better? So I would review them first because sometimes starting from scratch is not the best place to start. We want to look at what are we improving. So here's some of the tweaks that I would suggest you look at to determine, or you need to just firstly look at the data. Like, where are people dropping off? That's the first thing. Where are people dropping off? What I'm finding currently with all conversations I've had with my clients and I'm reviewing my clients' business data and when I'm seeing what's happening in the market, one of the things that's happening when people are losing people too quickly is that they're still relying on old, say, email sequences to convert with not much value. And so we're losing people probably 2 to 3 emails into that email sequence. Now, you want to consider if you are doing a lead gen or any other type of funnel from cold, let's start with cold first, that is the warmest an ideal client will be when they first hit download to whatever you have out there, a lead magnet, a resource, a paid workshop, a paid resource, whatever it is that you currently have out there that people are accessing. That first 3 emails that they get from you, they need to be bloody good, right? So we cannot phone it in. So we want to look at how can I improve those first 3 emails because they're the ones they're most likely going to open. And if we don't get them, if we don't capture their attention in those first 3 emails, people are dropping off and they've just gone completely MIA. Now, another thing that I'm really noticing is people actually opting in and email 1, they're unsubscribing. Because people know they're going to get spammed. People know they're going to get a bunch of emails from this person and they may not want that. And so we want to recognize that that's a normal thing that's happening in the market because people are so much more privy to the way that we do business, right? And so you want to be conscious of that and be like, how can I navigate that? So that first email that they get that has their resource on it, you need to be addressing it head on to be like, there's a reason why you should stay on my email list right now. Right? You're currently downloaded this resource. Here it is straight away. But before you go, I want you to know there are 2 or 3 reasons why you should stay. And those reasons need to be gold, right? They need to be like, I'm going to give you so many more resources for this specific area of your business or for a specific area of your life that you are going to kick yourself if you unsubscribe now, right? So hold on, let's just download, access this resource. Here's how to use it and get the most out of it. But keep an eye out for the next email. So then you're going to get the next resource. Right? So people need to know why they should stay. We need to be capturing early on. So those first 3 emails are absolutely paramount. And so you want to think about from email 1, how can I build a stronger connection with them and how can I get them to stay and open email 2, right? Email 2 is how do I deepen their connection with me and how do I give them more value without overwhelming them, right? So we want to be conscious that we don't just keep giving because not everyone's going to access things. People want it to be juicy. They want it to be something that they actually really want. So you need to consider, okay, so if they've downloaded a resource of yours, what is the next thing that they're going to need that feels like an absolute no-brainer, feels like the perfect next step for them to be like, oh, wow, she really got me. Like she realized that I'm going to need that next, right? And I'm talking like, give it to them. Don't just talk about it, give it to them. And so this is where sales funnels are working really effectively, is that when we're really considering the mindset that people are having and the drop off that happens early in the stage, right? Often what has been happening previously is that sales funnels have been like 7 to 10 emails of an email sequence once someone's downloaded a resource, right? Or it could be an opt-in, lead magnet, PDF, like whatever it is that you're giving them access to. And people have gone, okay, so six emails, or it's been like a 0 email sequence. And that's real bad too, right? So obviously we want to find the sweet spot. But I think like the 7 emails are still good to have, but we want to recognize that people are dropping off at probably email 3 or 4. Okay. So remember, people are the hottest when they first download. Those first 3 emails need to be absolute gold and needs to showcase what you have to give in order for them to stay. So email 2 needs to deepen their connection with you as well, because they need to know why they should stay around and learn from you, and how do they feel about you getting them. Like they have to feel like you absolutely get them. So that's where really understanding your ideal client is absolutely paramount. So we want to go deeper into helping them understand that you get them on a deeper level. So that second email needs to go even like deeper into how they feel, the emotional connection they have to whatever resource you've given them, and what they're not getting because they haven't got that in place, right? And I know this kind of like feels kind of vague as I'm talking about it, but hopefully it's making sense for you. And obviously it's going to be really individual depending on the business and what it is that you're actually selling. Okay. So ideally in email 2, we're giving them something more, right? We're giving them more. So we're basically teaching them, we're training them to continue to open our emails. So boring, long ass emails don't go anywhere for a cold audience. It needs to be about them, not about you. But when I mean by creating a deeper connection and helping them understand why it's about how you talk about their experience and how you make them feel seen and heard in their experience. So they're like, oh my gosh, she gets me. I want to keep learning from this person. Okay. Email 3 needs to be another form of value that makes them feel, again, it goes deeper into spending more time with you. All right. So I've actually been working on mapping out a resource myself because of this conversation that I've been having with a lot of people recently. And I'm going to map out 5 sales funnels that are working right now. And I'm going to teach you and break it down for you so you know what to implement into your business. But part of that I've been working on is understanding what people are wanting from you and when, and what we want them to do next, right? So we need to understand that from our customer's point of view. The first usually opt into something, right? For someone to give you their email address, that first lead magnet needs to be so tangible, so specific, so outcome driven that they see it as a valuable piece of content or a valuable resource that they're going to want to need, and enough for them to give you their email address, right? Now that they've given you their email address, you have to prove to them why they should stay. So the best thing that you want to do with that lead magnet is make it tangible, but make it low effort. The less effort there is, the more likely it is that they'll actually get an outcome and a win or a shift or something from it that makes them get the value from it. People have, I know over the years we've created lead magnets that have been so in-depth and so full on. I remember having a client that came to me, she had a 56-page PDF for her lead magnet. And I was like, no one is reading 56 pages of your lead magnet. And even if they are, you're giving them so much work that they don't need you. They're literally going to be stuck in that 56 pages forever before they need you. So you're lengthening the sales conversion time, right? That's not supporting the growth of your business. So you want to think like, again, low effort, big outcome. Like it has to be a win-win, right? Low effort, big outcome. So you want to think, and this is why I'm spending some time really thinking about this. Like, how do I create something that people really, truly want? And it's a no-brainer. And they don't have to think about it, and they don't have to question, who is this person and should I get anything from this person? Like you need to be almost irrelevant in that decision-making process when it comes to a lead magnet, okay? To give you an example, actually, I remember someone a while back, a client of mine had come to one of my containers and mentioned that she'd seen someone speak about AI. And it was basically like really in the early days of AI really hitting online business, and everyone was into the prompts. And basically this person had created this really cool resource with all like 100 different prompts, plus how to create your avatar, how to create your elevator pitch, like all this stuff. And it was like so detailed and so effective that my client was like, oh my God, it's so good, you need to get it. And I literally went straight to that Instagram page, downloaded it straight away, went straight onto her email list, didn't even think about it because of the value that my client was describing, right? And so that's what it has to be for you. No matter what area of business or life that you help your clients with, you need to make it and spend some time really thinking about how you can make it low effort and high impact. So I'm kind of getting off track here, but I want you to think about, so that's like the first part of the sales funnel, is actually having something that people really want and make it easy for them to say yes to. And then the email sequence is really imperative that you're obviously building that connection and that they feel like they understand you. Then email 3 is you need to give them more value. So what else can you give them that will help deepen their relationship with you and spend more time? That's where I was going with this, sorry. So the first piece is low effort. Low effort. Then we're stepping into how do we get them to spend more time with me, whether that's reading longer emails, whether that's watching a video, whether that is listening to the podcast, spending more time on Instagram, watching my videos, like whatever it might be. I want you to think about what is the next piece in the journey that you're taking them on from that resource of like, what do they need next? Where are they going to get stuck next? And you then literally feed it to them next. So that your next email needs to be like, watch this video, download this podcast, download this next resource, like whatever it is, and help them build a stronger connection with you. And again, help them again. Because once we get to email 4, they're most likely going to start dropping off. So those email 4 is where we start to build a little bit more trust and credibility. We want to weave in the credibility ideally in that video in email 3 or that extra piece of content. And so if they're coming across to your podcast or if they're watching a video on YouTube or whatever it might be, they're at least spending more time. And in that, there needs to be some trust building and credibility building in order for them to, again, stay with you. So then we want to give them another reason to stay on that email sequence. Give them another gift. And it feels like you're giving heaps, but again, small parts that add lots of value. So that brings me to the next tweak that I would suggest you do is really thinking about, again, how do I strengthen the relationship that I have with this customer and spend more time adding more value? In the olden days, like last year, people are like, okay, I'm going to have a lead magnet. It's going to have 7 emails and that's going to then direct them to book a call, which is going to be a sales call, or it's going to be directed to a offer, which might be a low ticket or a high ticket offer straight away, right? So that intention of that email sequence is literally 3 points, right? Lead magnet to email sequence to sale. We're missing the point here when it comes to how much we're in a trust recession and how incredibly important it is to build stronger trust with people early in the stage of this relationship and making sure that you actually add more value in your current emails ecosystem, because that's where people are losing people. They're literally giving them one thing and then hoping they opt in for another thing at some point down the track, right? Forget that. Add heaps of value with the first funnel. If you've acquired an email address, that is incredibly valuable to you, and you need to make sure that you're reciprocating that value massively. And if your mind is going to, but I probably shouldn't give them too much because then they will never spend money with me, it's actually the complete opposite right now. You need to be giving more in order for them to build trust and credibility with you and that trust level to the point where they're like, I know this person can give me an outcome or a result and there's zero risk in me investing. That's what we're trying to create here, right? We want to prove to them there's zero risk in this investment because you've already shown them an incredible amount of value in order for them to work with you. That's what we're trying to do here. So you want to think about how can I really work on that email sequence and add heaps more value. Add in videos, make sure there's extra types of modalities in there because not everyone's going to read, and you want to also adjust like the types of emails that you're sending and how you're putting different calls to action at different points of the email, so you're not just waiting right to the bottom of the end before you have a call to action. You just want to change things up, and again, it's about attention. How do we keep them coming back for more, and how do we keep them staying in our ecosystem? So this is what I mean as well, like I was saying before, like you may need to just really work on your current one that you have rather than build from scratch a brand new one. So you might already have a really great resource, but it may have dropped in downloads or it might have not worked in the first place. But the first thing you want to consider is like, but what part of it didn't work? Is it the conversion? Because then if it's the conversion, your sales messaging is off, or it means that they didn't get enough eyes on it, right? The visibility was off, or maybe the name didn't communicate the value that they're going to get from it. So you might need to tweak the name. The amount of times that I've spent with a client where we really go on nutting out the exact name it needs to have and the tagline and then really work on the landing page. A landing page is actually a sales page. And if you don't have a really good landing page of people to really see the value in what you're delivering, they're going to opt out really fast, or they're not going to opt in at all. So this is what I always say to my clients, like we want to perfect your funnels before we move on and create a whole new one, so that we may be able to work with what you've got, or we may need to start from scratch. It really will just depend. And so the reason why I would say for someone to start from scratch is because they might have created a resource that they're using as a downloadable or an opt-in that isn't something that your ideal clients want. They maybe have to be a much warmer audience in order for them to want that. So that comes back to what I was saying before about how much time you're asking them to spend with you. A cold audience doesn't want to spend any time with you because they don't know who you are yet. So we want to create something that they want and don't have to question who it's coming from. If it's a warm audience, then we can ask them to spend more time. So you might then want to use a lead magnet like a masterclass or a webinar or a video or another type of longer form resource, right? That you know that they want and need. But you need to be conscious of where you're thinking they need it, because if they are already in your world, then maybe are they too far down the journey in order to need that resource, and they may not be jumping on it. So you want to go look at what are people actually accessing? What are people asking for before they know who you are? Just like that top of funnel, what's happening at that point that they're like, oh, I need this. And they're opting into that. Other people are already giving that to them somewhere, but maybe you just haven't considered that and you've just been offering something you've already created. Now, sometimes it's stuff that you actually give to your paying clients, and that we just turn one of those things into a lead magnet or some type of top of funnel for your sales funnel, right? So there's lots of different ways to go about it, but I want you to consider making some of these tweaks in order to support the conversion, because people need a lot more value from you than you're actually giving right now in order to support the conversion. Okay, one of the other messaging gaps that I often see when it comes to promoting or building out a sales funnel is that the messaging gap, what I mean by this, is that either you're not communicating the outcome or the result that they're going to get from your opt-in, or the messaging throughout the emails is not conveying what they're going to get from working with you. The calls to actions aren't great, or there is actually a huge gap between where they came in to actually needing your service. So you want to reverse engineer it, right? Because you want to consider, like, how do people get to being ready to work with me? So the end goal is always a specific offer. So you want to get super clear. What is the specific offer that I'm building out a sales funnel for? And what are the things that happen before they get ready to work with you, right? What are the mindset shifts that they need to have? What objections and hesitations do they have? And what are the things that they need, they're actively out there looking for, that get them ready to need your service? We need to reverse engineer that, and that's how you build out the funnel. So then the messaging supporting that throughout it will support them to go from maybe being problem aware or problem even unaware to getting really clear on the problem, to then considering the solution and then being ready to buy. That's ideally what we want our funnels to do. And so you want to consider, like, is my funnel built out with that in mind, or is it just stuff that's nice to have, or just an email sequence that I pulled out of my butt or off ChatGPT and it's not really doing anything for me? So you want to reverse engineer it, absolutely, because you want to consider, if you're selling a high ticket offer, there is a lot of trust that needs to be built. And we want to consider the hesitations, the objections, and the mindset shifts that need to happen in order for them to go from not needing your service to needing your service to then choosing you over everybody else. Okay, last little things I want to share with you is those simple tweaks that help increase your conversions is that we want to consider, one, how clear are our calls to action? Are we making sure that we're changing the way that we create calls to action that support people to take the next step? And again, we don't want to overcomplicate these things. So the sales funnels that I'm finding really working really well, or even just like lead magnets, for instance, because I don't really have time to go into the full sales funnels, but I'm going to break it down into a Google Doc for you. And so if you want access to it, send me a DM that says funnel, and I will send it to you as soon as it's ready. I'm still working on it, but once it's ready, I will bring it out to you. Is that the simplification of figuring out a best way to deliver it to your client and how it's going to be useful for them, right? So I'm putting this together on, it'll either be a PDF or a Google Doc. So you want to think about, like, how can I just make it simple for me to create more lead magnets and more resources, because my clients need more from me in order to convert. So often we get so stuck in creating something that it takes way too long to actually get it to market. So test it, put it out there first, see if people actually want it, and create what people want, and then create it from scratch, but get support with how you're simplifying it. So it doesn't have to be this pretty, amazing looking Canva file. Like, yeah, it could be, but if you don't have the time and it's going to take you 4 months to pull that together, it's a waste of your time. But if you can put it on a simple Google Doc and it's actually effective, then that's all it needs to be, right? I always get stuck in making it all pretty and perfect and formatted and shit in Canva. Whereas now I just love putting it together on a Google Doc, branding that Google Doc and sending that to people. Or a PDF. PDF is just as simple as well. So You really want to think about like, it's not about making it super pretty, but how can I simplify it and make it easier for people to implement so they get an outcome? Because one of the biggest things that's happening is that people aren't converting is because they're still stuck implementing what you've given them. So you want to make it simple, specific, easy, and digestible in order for them to have an outcome. Because without an outcome, they don't see the value in taking the next step. And lastly, I will just speak to clarity. Clarity will always win over complexity. If it takes you too long to explain what it is that it is, people don't want it. If you're using too much fluff language and people are like, I've got no clue what the hell you're talking about, it's not going to convert. Clarity and consistency matter over complexity every single time. So then that brings me to the last piece. You need to promote it a hell of a lot more than you actually think. So when you think about building out your sales funnel, if you're spending heaps of time literally building out this really high value sales funnel, but then you're not doing the work to get the leads in to begin with, then it's not going to work down the track anyway, right? So you really want to think about like, what is the best way for me to get it out there and how can I talk about it much more often? How can I get it in front of more audiences? How can I, if I need to run Facebook ads, I can run Facebook ads, but figuring out like to your organic audience first that they actually want it and then getting as many eyes as possible onto it and give it its all. Like it should last like a good 6 weeks. If I think about like the timeline of what it would take, depending on how often you're changing your creatives and how different unique ways that you're directing people to it, you want to think about like, don't just have one post and one reel and expect that that's going to get enough reach. I mean, recently one of my clients went viral and she had her guide be downloaded like 700 times, which was amazing, but she's been incredibly consistent. She's gotten really clear on her sales messaging and she's gotten clarity on what people actually want. And she created a lead magnet that people really wanted with a cold audience, right? From the cold top of funnel. And once we had tweaked all of those things went crazy, right? That is possible and can happen for you. But again, don't overcomplicate it. You'll probably find that the first one you'll create will do okay. The second one you create, if you really listen to your people, will do even better. But what's actually happening is that our lead magnets or these types of sales funnels are lasting about 6 weeks. With regards to the intensity, depending on, again, the amount of content that you're putting out there, how often you're sharing it in your content, how you're presenting it in a way that makes a client want it. So really consider these things and then get it out there. Now, as you're listening to all this, you might think, okay, it might be time to build a whole new funnel. And it might be. And I'm a big believer that if it's been a while since you've created a lead magnet and built out a sales funnel, it might be time to start. So feel free to download my free guide, which is the 5 sales funnels that are working right now. And you're more than welcome to build out one of those for your business. If you want access to it, send me a message on Instagram or Facebook that says funnel, and I'll make sure that I get your email address and send it to you as soon as it's ready. All right, have an incredible rest of your week. Oh, actually, before I go, I must mention, I'm about to do a speaker announcement for Unstoppable Women. So freaking excited for it. And I've just started a new intake for the Unstoppable Women Collective, which is a brand new secret project I've been working on behind the scenes. If you want to know about that, there's a possibility that you have the option to join. Send me the word secret, because I'm not going to put it in the show notes. Send me the word secret on any platform and I will send you the details. All right, have an incredible rest of your week. Thank you for listening. And if you found any value out of this episode, make sure you hit the follow button so you get access to the episodes as soon as they are live. And make sure you come hang out with me on Instagram. You can find me at @ChristineCorcoran_coach. Have an incredible week.